is Stacy with Misguided Road Trips, and first and foremost I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being here and watching these videos. Whether you just watched this one and it's your first video, all the way back to one of you who was in the very beginning, I want to thank you. It's been an awesome year in 2018, and I've got almost 5,000 subscribers, so I think that's awesome. And it's every one of you that's made the difference. Today, I want to bring you more of a holiday video, recognizing Christmas, and just say thank you for all you've done, and just show you a little bit more about who I am and where I'm from. So, I'm bringing you to what I consider one of my hometowns, because I don't live far from here. It's St. Mary's, Georgia. It is the second oldest city in the United States. It was actually set up in the paperwork in 1792 to become a city. However, the United States government did not pass it to be a city until 1802. And there's so much history here that if you are a history buff, you could just be amazed at what else happened in this town, and it's all right together, so it's pretty cool to see all of it. Right now behind me is one of the first churches that was ever built in St. Mary's, and it is the Presbyterian Church. It's a beautiful church, as you can tell, and it actually became one of the first Presbyterian churches in 1832. Now, Horace Pratt lived here, and he was a Presbyterian preacher who moved to St. Mary's to help get St. Mary's going. And over here is the Orange Hall. Orange Hall's now a museum, but that was his house when he lived here. And he built his house first. It was, I guess, kind of like his dream home he had planned. We're going to look at it, but this was his house, and he built the church right across so that he could be there every time he needed to be. And this church has a lot of history behind it too. But one of the funnier stories was pirates came in to St. Mary's and down at the waterfront. And when the pirates came in, they were playing in the saloon a card game. Well, one of the pirates was accused of actually cheating at the game. So what they did was they took his horse and led the horse upstairs, way up there into the steeple. Well, the story is you can lead a horse up, but you can't lead him backwards. So trying to figure out how to get his horse out was a different story. I don't know how that ended up happening. I don't know what he did, but it took a long time, they said, for him to figure out what to do about that horse, because he wasn't going to kill it. But this is the Orange Hall. Now, the Orange Hall is beautiful. Horace Pratt built this as his family's home. We gotta walk around to the front, but he actually did not live here very long, because he had made a promise to the University of Alabama that he would go back there and teach if they couldn't find anybody. And right before he got this house built, they let him know they could not find anybody. So he rented it out to numerous wealthy people. It was always also a place to stay for wealthy people throughout the years. Thomas Carnegie, which is another very rich man, used to stay here all the time. It has the same Carnegies that deal with the Carnegie Hall. Nathaniel Greene. Quite a lot of men who founded this nation and did a lot for it was known to have stayed here back in its earlier days. Now, right now, it is going through a remodel, so you can't get into it. But there are stories that in that upstairs window, Horace Pratt's little girl, who died at 6 years old, has been seen walking past, playing with her doll, moving her doll. They say her ghost is still in there. Paranormal investigators have been here, checked this out. They also said that there is the presence of a gentleman who, before they started the remodel, there was rockers out on the porch, and the rocking chair would move. And they believe it's the spirit of Thomas Carnegie, who comes out, sits on the porch, and just watches and rocks while people come by. Now, the Orange Hall was built in 1830. So that is a very old home you're looking at. And I have to say it's kind of sad because usually it's all decorated for Christmas. Can't get it to focus. Maybe Carnegie's with us now. There are a lot of older homes that actually built back in the day that are still here. Some of them's up for sale, and I'm not sure who lived in all of them or what the history is about for all of them, but I do know quite a bit of them. I'll take you on up here and let you look around. They do have the town decorated for Christmas, but the lights aren't on yet because it's too daylight. Ooh, the sun is bright. Bright sun, bright sun. Some of the buildings have been remodeled, and you can tell, like, that's an insurance company and a restaurant. Little quiet, quaint little restaurants you can go to. And there are a lot of bed and breakfast here. A lot of tourists come in. I won't say a lot. It's a kind of a small town tourist attraction. You're looking at Saturday afternoon and it's about as busy as it gets. Now, there is rumor that on this street at night you can see ghosts also of some of the slaves, and there was a tree back that way that they've recently cut down because it got so big. It was actually in the road, but it used to be the hanging tree, and if anybody was caught doing anything in town and they found them guilty, they just took them to that tree and hung them. And then they would take them to Oak Grove and throw them in a massive grave out in Oak Grove Cemetery and be done with it. And they ended up cutting the tree down because, like I said, there have been a lot of wrecks. There are a lot of people who would hit that tree. It was coming out in the road, and like you can tell even on this one how this tree is coming out in the road. The other one was way worse. People would hit it all the time. This is another older church. This is a First Baptist church. It actually was not established till 1937, so it's a newer church, but it's still an older church. Up here is what used to be considered Sterling's grocery store. It's a very old grocery store. I guess originally when the town was first started, this store was where a lot of people would buy things, get their, their flour and stuff, get whatever they needed. That was located in this building. Sterling's Grocery, 1896. Over there is another home that's a bed and breakfast that you can rent a room at, go and stay. I'm not sure if they're on Airbnb yet or not, but it's another little house. Some of these houses are bed and breakfast, while others are private residence. This is General John Floyd's house from 1830. So this house was built 1830 for General John Floyd, who I believe was one of the 20 men who owned basically all the land in St. Mary's. They made all the decisions. That used to be the post office. Now it's the paper. That tells you that little office does our paper, and it comes out once a week. What a small town I'm from, huh? This is the Howard Rudolph House. 1911 is when this house was built. This is called the Good Bread Inn. And they do rent their rooms out for you to stay in. They have the pretty carriage outside. And the pirate. Pirates had a lot to do with St. Mary's. They used to come in and out of, we're going to get down there in just a minute, but of Seagulls, and they would bring their they would come up into the port and a lot of times try and do business, and a lot of times create havoc. This is the first Catholic church that was in Camden County. From 1840s. Decorated for Christmas all inside. You guys can see. Up here we have the Cumberland Island Museum. Cumberland Island is just off of our shores up ahead, and it's a national seashore. It's the biggest island of all the islands off the Georgia shores, and it's beautiful. Yeah, Cumberland Island was a place that George Washington's family, along with friends of his, often frequented there. And the only way to get there now is if you take the Cumberland Queen boat over. It goes over twice a day, I believe, and comes back twice a day. So you have to have reservations, but it's beautiful over there. Wild horses. They have all kinds of seashores, animals that you can see over there. Up here, you'll see Seagull's Saloon. That is one of the known haunted places. There is an apparition that makes itself known in room 8. when we went through Irma and we lost all power and 2 feet of water was up into the building here. All the power was cut off, but in one of the rooms there was actually a light that was working even though there was no electricity. This is the saloon, and it was the saloon back in the day with the hotel. Looks like they're getting a facelift, and I do plan on me and Patty coming to stay here one night. We want to come stay here and spend the night in that room. This is the restaurant that they're redoing it also. Over here you'll see the seashore. And this is, there's the Cumberland Lady, which is another boat that goes over to Cumberland Island. And if you, let me get over here. Come down here just a way. Okay. Yeah, if you look out there, you'll see the St. Mary's River. St. Mary's River runs to the Intercoastal Waterway that will take you straight out into Atlanta, the Atlantic Ocean, which is why this made a prime spot for when the town was settling. Everybody wanted this. The Spanish had already inhabited St. Augustine, and they wanted this because it was at the turn of the coast where they could guard from more than one direction. It was an easy access to get in and out of port. It kind of snakes in here on the coastline, so if you could see 2 ways, you could have it all under control. And there were numerous battles fought here, from the Revolutionary War up to the Civil War. Numerous battles, a lot of lives lost. But it is beautiful, and I'm proud to call it home. It's not a big city, but it's a nice city. So I wanted to share just a little bit about where, I was born and raised and what I'd seen most of my life. So anyway, we're going to explore some of these places that are haunted too and see what we can find in them. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. And thank you again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all that YouTube stuff.